Hi, good evening everyone. It's 7 o'clock, so I think I will get started with the presentation. I understand there's traffic, so there might be a few people coming in afterwards, but of course, all of you made it here on time, so I'm going to start this on time. So thank you very much for coming out tonight for our AmaWaterways Luxury River Cruise presentation. My name is Neil Dudley. I'm the Business Development Manager with AmaWaterways, and I work exclusively with your travel advisor partners who would have invited you here this evening for this evening's event. Now, before I get started with the presentation, which will last for about 55 minutes, and I'll leave a few minutes at the end for any extra questions that you may have, I always like to ask a question of everyone in the room, and that is, how many of you have been on a river cruise before? Great. How about with AmaWaterways? How many of you have been on AmaWaterways? So you're my favorites. That's okay, I'll make the rest of you my favorites very soon. How many of you have been on an ocean cruise? Pretty much the whole room, and that's usually what I expect when I ask that question. And there is a reason I actually ask that question, because interesting fact is that once people take a cruise vacation, 93% of people continue to take another cruise vacation. So a lot of you have done the Caribbean, you've done the Med, you've done Alaska, and you're looking for your next evolution in your cruising experience. And this is where river cruising really has taken off over the last 5 years or so. Now, river cruising is very similar to our ocean cruising cousins in the sense that all of us have different styles of product. Just like on an ocean cruise, not all ocean cruises are the same, and that is the same with river cruising. So tonight, it's my job to tell you obviously what makes AmaWaterways very unique and special. And the first thing is that we are a family-owned and operated company, and it's two main families since our inception, coming up on 20 years in just a couple of weeks' time. And yes, our birthday is on Canada Day, so there is our Canadian connection. You've got Rudy and Christine there, husband and wife team from Germany and Austria, really bringing a lot of great in-depth knowledge to our main destination, of course, which is Europe. And then you've got the Murphys, originally from Ireland, moved over to the US. So internationally owned and operated company, and this truly is reflected in our product itself. Now, another unique fact about AmaWaterways, folks, is our sole focus is river cruising, providing you with the best luxury river cruise experience out there. We do not have an ocean cruising division to worry about. We don't have a coach touring division to worry about. Our sole focus is on being the best provider of river cruises, not only in Europe, but also in some exotic destinations around the world. Now, a number of times people actually ask me where the name AmaWaterways comes from. Well, when our owners decided to actually create this company 20 plus years ago, they really want to incorporate their true love and passion for river cruising forever into the name of the title. So, if there's anybody out there who remembers their Latin lessons, you'll actually know that ama means love in Latin, and that is actually where the name has been grown from. Now, I do like to show this slide, and this is really for those of you who've not river cruised before. It really goes to show you the difference between us and our ocean cruising cousins. Obviously, on a river cruise ship, you are in port of call every single day. Generally arriving around breakfast, staying right through till dinner, often overnighting in some ports of call as well. And as you can see in this picture, you are always within sight of land. So it's the really joyful thing about river cruising is really experiencing all of these cities and towns that have been built around the rivers for centuries. Now at AmaWaterways, we are a very innovative style company, so much so that Rudy down there in the bottom right-hand corner, he's not just one of our owners, but he's actually the architect and designer of every single one of our ships. And in our industry, he's actually referred to as the godfather of river cruising, always coming out with something new and innovative into the field of river cruise ships, including being the very first company to have balcony suites on our river cruise ships. And like I just said, there's always something to see day or night, so that was a great invention at the time. And also having the shallowest draft of any river cruise line, because sometimes we have to deal with some things that our ocean cruising cousins do not, and that is sometimes water levels can be too high or too low. So all of our ships only need about 4 feet of water underneath them in order to be able to cruise, which means we're able to always provide you with that beautiful luxury river cruise experience. Now, Rudy's passion for river cruising goes back much further than the creation of his company. It actually goes back to his very first river cruise he ever took, fell in love with the idea, and I actually have live footage of his very first river cruise experience to share with you tonight. It's back in 1974, folks, and yes, it was on the Amazon. Cruised along there, he fell in love with the idea of river cruising. There he is, up close and in person. Now folks, for those of you who have not been on AmaWaterways, fear not, we've come a long ways since Rudy's very first river cruise experience. There is no more manual labor involved in your experience. In fact, this is what the AmaWaterways experience looks like today. is just a little glimpse into the AmaWaterways experience today. Now currently we've got a fleet of about 25 ships sailing on all the rivers in and around the world. And again, something else unique, these are a fleet of sister ships, meaning no matter which ship you sail on, you're getting that same onboard AmaWaterways experience. So everything you just saw in that video really does exist, core features on each and every one of our ships. But one ship I am going to highlight just a bit differently is the AmaMagna. She came out in 2019 and it's the world's largest river cruise ship ever to be built. Twice as wide as our regular river cruise ships. And this ship was designed with any of you who are ocean cruisers who've never river cruised before. And maybe you've looked to the world of river cruising thinking, there's just not enough to do on board a river cruise ship like there would be on my ocean experience. Well, that is why Rudy designed the AmaMagna. Like I said, twice as wide, meaning twice as many amenities, but we only added another 40 passengers, so 196 guests. Now on the average AmaWaterways ships, there's 156 passengers, so imagine having twice as much space with only another 40 guests. Now, on board, of course, you're actually going to have 4 different restaurants, all of which are included, including that alfresco dining experience that you're seeing in the bottom left-hand corner of your screen. We've got a rooftop heated pool, we've got a hot tub, we've got multiple lounges on board, including a private movie theater, so multiple entertainment going on, just like you would find on an ocean ship. And like I said, only having another 40 guests means we were able to add something that river cruising had never seen before, and that was the size of the suites on board. They actually start at 355 square feet and go up to 710 square feet. Folks, that's bigger than my condo in downtown Toronto, so trust me, you'll be very comfortable when you are on board. Now, the AmaMagna can only cruise on the Danube River. That is the only river that has locks big enough to take a ship this size, but that's also the river that generally 75% of first-time river cruisers tend to choose. So it really is that perfect choice for you to introduce you to the world of river cruising. Now let's talk about our balcony suites. These exist on each and every one of our ships. And like I said, I like to think that we actually perfected the balcony experience because, as we know, the typical outdoor balcony, like you see there in the top middle picture, couples able to stand outside, enjoy all of the lovely views. They've got the table, the 2 chairs. But what happens when the weather's not so nice? Maybe it's a bit cooler outside, maybe it's raining. That's where we have the matching mirrored indoor French balcony. Table, 2 chairs, French balcony design doors, so that no matter what the weather, no matter what the temperature, you're always able to enjoy that beautiful balcony experience. Now in all of our ships, we've got 3 levels of accommodation. You've got the picture window staterooms, you've got the French balcony suites, right up to the signature twin balcony suites. And all of the cabins, of course, have the iMac entertainment system in them. Music, movies, TV, all of the things that you want to watch when you are in your cabin. And it also has access to the internet. Wi-Fi is complimentary throughout your entire cruise, no matter what device you decide to bring. But folks, if you don't want to bring a laptop or a tablet, you have full access to the internet with the iMac entertainment system as well. Now, speaking of entertainment on board, that's a shot of our main lounge in the top left-hand corner. That's the main hub of activity. This is where the cruise manager gives his or her port talks each and every evening. This is where locally themed entertainment happens after dinner when we are cruising. And of course, after they are finished, we've got our onboard musicians play music into the later hours as well. But in addition to the main lounge, you've got the little library lounge, quieter area down here, fireplace, some books to read. And then on the opposite side is our 24-hour cafe and lounge. Coffee, tea, espresso available whenever you would like. And in each and every one of our lounges throughout the day, we have complimentary tapas served for you to enjoy as well. Now, speaking of food, this is an area we truly do excel at. That is a shot of our main restaurant. Now, it has 170 seats in there, but we have 156 guests on board. What that means, it's open seating. Come and dine whenever, wherever you like. Tables of 2, 4, 6, or 8 for you to enjoy. Now, this is going to sound very odd, but I'm going to actually tell you something that's been positive to come out of the COVID situation for us as a river cruise line. Now, we were actually the only river cruise line that was actually able to cruise in 2020 for our European passengers, again last year. But obviously, for a river cruise ship to operate, we operate within the confines of the European Union, meaning all of their enhanced health and safety protocols must be adhered to on board the river cruise ships, or we're not actually allowed to operate. So, as you can imagine, extremely safe cruising environments. Now, as of May 1st, of course, a lot of those restrictions have been relaxed over in Europe. And one of the restrictions that was put on place for all of the river cruise ships was that you could not have buffets served while you were on board. Now, as of May 1st, like I said, those restrictions have been relaxed. All the river cruise lines have gone back to serving buffets at breakfast and lunch, but our owner decided that he actually liked the elevated dining experience. So for us, moving forward, there will be no more buffets on board. All of our meals will be a la carte service. So we're actually quite happy about that little enhancement to our program. Now, in addition to the main dining room, you've got these little private wine rooms to the left and to the right-hand side of the main restaurant. Seats about 6 or 8 guests, so if you're looking for a quieter, more intimate dining experience, you can actually eat in there. And then we've got the chef's table at the back of the ship. Seats about 28 guests, and it's a bit of an interactive culinary experience. The chefs are back there creating the meals right in front of you. And we make sure everybody gets a chance to dine in here at least once during their journey, because we won't take a second reservation from guests until everybody else has made their first reservation. Now, if there's any of you out there tonight who are true food connoisseurs, you might be familiar with one or both of these organizations, Table et Auberge and Chaîne de Roadshow. These are the two oldest gastronomic societies in the world, and any true 5-star restaurant really does want this accreditation attached to their menu. So we are thrilled to be the only river cruise line to have ever received either of these designations on board, which really just speaks to the quality of food, wine, and service that you'll receive on all of the AmaWaterways cruises. Now, of course, if you have any sort of dietary restrictions, just let your travel advisor know. They will make sure that we are aware, and the chefs will create an equally impressive array of meals with your specific dietary needs in mind. Now, some of the onboard services that we have, if you are the kind of cruiser who likes to get a massage or get your hair done, you'll find those services available on board. You've also got a fitness center on every single one of our ships, as well as being the only river cruise line to have a full-time wellness host on every single one of our ships as well, offering complimentary classes both on the ship and off. So it could be a yoga class on board, could be a guided hiking experience on shore. We also have about 20 or 25 bikes free of charge for you to take in any port of call should you wish to do so. And we always have guided cycling tours on every single one of our cruises. So again, you can be as relaxed or as active as you would like to be, and these are all included as part of your river cruise package. But I will say our most popular area of recreation happens to be the rooftop heated pools we have in all of our main ships over in Europe. Now, this might be something different if you're not used to river cruising and maybe you've ocean cruised before. The cruise manager will probably tell you about an amazing vintage of wine or a specialty liqueur that's only available in that next port of call. Folks, with AmaWaterways, you can purchase that, bring it back on board, enjoy it wherever you like, including up at the pool, in the restaurant, in the lounge. Not a problem. In your cabins, you're going to find glassware, corkscrews, ice buckets, all sorts of things. Basically, we want you to enjoy your cruise exactly how you wish to do so at no additional cost to you. Now, another question I tend to get asked about the pool is like, when is it open? Well, it is open our entire sailing time, so 24/7, and it is open our entire season from March right up through till the end of December, when we do my absolute favorite river cruise, which are the Christmas Markets river cruises. Now, yes, folks, we do tend to turn the temperature up a bit more in November and December in the pools. But folks, if you are going to take advantage of one of our famous Christmas Markets cruises, I always like to encourage my fellow Canadian travelers, please bring your swimwear. Go up and enjoy the pool, because it's the perfect opportunity for you to meet your fellow Canadian travelers, because we're the only ones using the pool. Now, folks, some of the onboard enhancements we've made over the years and some of the onshore ones, let's talk about Sip and Sail. Now, with all of your meals, all of your drinks are included, so unlimited beer, wine, and soft drinks. And what we were finding, though, is that guests would go off onto their included sightseeing tour. Because yes, every single day, there's an included sightseeing tour for you to enjoy. In the larger cities and towns, there's 3, 4, sometimes 5 different choices of activities, all free of charge, allowing you to customize your touring activities. Now, when you're out on these tours, we put no more than 15 guests per tour guide. And if you're not familiar, we actually use this lovely little device here. It's called the Audio Box. So you've got a tour guide that speaks into the microphone. You've got this lovely little earpiece, so you put that on, you can hear the tour guide wherever you are. It also ensures perfect social distancing, because you don't have to huddle around in the groups like you did of old. Now, folks, like I said, we will never be sold out on any of our shore excursions, and the cruise manager will tell you about all of the excursions that are included on your program, so you don't need to pre-reserve these with your travel advisor. Find out a bit more when you're on board, whether it's a half day, whether it's a full day, whether it's a relaxed pace or a bit more of an active tour. You can always decide, and you get to choose all of these on board. And like I said, they'll never be sold out. And with all of our shore excursions, we have, if you have any sort of mobility issues, we always have a relaxed pace tour going. We have the regular tours, we have the more active tours, so it really allows you to do exactly what you would like to see and do in every port of call. But what we were finding is that guests would go off onto their included sightseeing tour, they'd come back onto the ship middle to late part of the afternoon, and that's when the guests would come down to the main lounge for the cruise manager's port talk, and about 80% of our guests used to purchase a drink from the bar at that time, whether these were alcoholic or non-alcoholic. So, back in 2018 we brought out Sip and Sail. It is essentially like a happy hour. It's unlimited beverages, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, leading right up until dinner time begins. So all that really left that wasn't included was drinks in the lounge after dinner, if you were happened to be going up there for entertainment. But folks, I have the solution to that as well. So if you happen to be in the dining room enjoying your dinner and you're getting towards the end of your meal, the servers are going to come over and ask you, say, are you planning on going upstairs to the lounge afterwards for the entertainment? And if you say yes, they're going to say, well, would you like to take a glass of wine that you're enjoying at dinner to go with you upstairs? Would you like to take 2 glasses of wine upstairs? Folks, if you can carry 3 glasses of wine, why not take 3 glasses of wine? Basically what I'm trying to say, folks, we want you to enjoy your cruise exactly how you wish to do so without ever having to pay anything extra. So that is really about the AmaWaterways style. So, but my favorite enhancement that we've made in the last few years has to be the My Ama Cruise app. Now this is an app designed for you to use both before, during, and after your river cruise experience. Now beforehand it has all sorts of great information such as the cruise you're going on, your documents will be in there, you can learn more about the ship. But my favorite part of this app actually happens when you're on board. Now I will assume each and every one of you here tonight has taken a guided tour at some stage in your life. That means you've listened to a tour guide take you around a beautiful area and tell you about all of those beautiful sights. They tell you about that beautiful castle over there, and you take a picture to remember that. And you carry on your tour a little bit more, and they tell you about that stunning church, and you take a picture to remember that. And you get back home after your 1 or your 2 week vacation, and you start looking back through your hundreds and hundreds of pictures, and you look back through some of these going, I have absolutely no idea what that is, let alone why I took a picture of this place. Well folks, if you take all of your pictures now through the My Ama Cruise app, all of the notes that are provided on each of those daily tours can be automatically linked to the pictures you took that day. Forms into your own digital photo album for you to look at for years and years and remember every part of your AmaWaterways River Cruise experience. And with one simple click, it's uploaded to your favorite social media site, whether that's Facebook or Instagram. And folks, if you've taken the perfect picture through the app, you can also send it as an electronic postcard to your friends and family as well. So.
Oh, yeah.
Now this is just a map of all the different rivers that we cruise on, of course. The Main, the Rhine, the Danube, the Moselle rivers, all the rivers in France, the Douro River in Portugal, even a few exotic destinations outside of continental Europe. So I'm going to go through these in a bit of a brief overview just to give you an idea of all the different cruise programs that we have. Of course, you've got a copy of our new catalog in your bags that you got tonight as well, but I will start with the Danube River. Like I said, it's probably the most popular choice for first-time river cruisers. And you'll have a whole range of cruises that you see there, from 7 up to 14 nights available on the Danube, whether it's the upper Danube, the lower Danube, or the entire Danube River. Now, I do love to show this map because it really shows all of the different kinds of tours that are all included for you to enjoy. So, you'll see the little green hiking symbols. That means there's guided hiking tours available on that day. If you see the little golden bicycles, that means there's guided cycling tours included on that day. If you're seeing the little grapes, that means there's special interest tours, either going off to a chateau, a winery, a cooking school, whatever that area is famous for. So as you can see, a whole range of all sorts of different tours allowing you to customize your touring experiences. Now we'll start with the upper Danube. This probably is the most popular choice on the Danube River. These are 7-night river cruises which take you either from Vilshofen or Nuremberg down through to Budapest. You do pre and post packages with us if you'd like to go to some of the areas where the rivers don't go. And what's unique is we are the only river cruise line where these escorted land packages are guided by our AmaWaterways cruise manager. So if you've just done a 7-night Danube cruise and you're planning on going up to Prague, it's that same cruise manager that actually goes up there with you to guide you through the land portion as well. Now on the lower Danube, of course, you've got 7-night cruises between Budapest and Bucharest with pre and post packages available in cities such as Budapest, Romania, or over into Turkey. But our most popular choice for Canadians tends to be the 14-night Grand Danube experience. I like to refer to it as the best of the West and the best of the East all in one great river cruise. So you go from Vilshofen all the way down to Bucharest on that beautiful program. And of course, You can still extend that stay if you'd like to spend some extra time in Munich or in Romania or Turkey afterwards as well. So the next series of slides is just some pictures of some of the great highlights that you'll see on a Danube River cruise, including the Iron Gates. These are the natural rock monoliths that act as the border between Serbia and Romania. And yes, those are the little ships down there. That is just how big those monoliths are. Of course, we will cruise through this during the day for you to enjoy, and it is an escorted experience as well. And then once you finish going through the Iron Gates, we actually end up at the Belogradchik Fortress in Bulgaria. This is the entrance there. We dock just outside this beautiful fortress as well. And then of course Budapest. This is always included on all of our Danube cruises, and honestly it will always be one of the highlights. And I like to say this city is the most beautiful city by night. All of the buildings are lit up just like you see here. And of course Budapest used to be two cities. The cities of Buda and the city of Pest, with the Danube River dividing down between. So you've got just as many beautiful buildings on the Buda side as you do on the Pest side. Another highlight for us on the Danube is stopping in Bratislava, which a lot of river cruise lines tend to just cruise right on by. And this is a big problem because this is a beautiful city, capital of Slovakia, and the next day, if you're going upstream, you're going to end up into Vienna, which is a beautiful city, world famous for its shopping. Well, folks, I'm going to tell you the reason why Bratislava is so important. It has all the same designer shops that Vienna does, but 30% less of the price. So save your shopping for Bratislava because the next day you are in Vienna. Incredible city, lots to see. We are always there late night or overnight into Vienna as well. So you always get a chance to enjoy the city to the fullest. And then of course it's not all about big cities and towns. We've got some smaller towns and villages that we stop in, including Dürnstein, one of my absolute favorite on the Danube. Yes, that's the entire town. It does not take long to walk it. That's the city hall. And if you want to be a bit more active, you can go up to Richard the Lionheart's castle, which overlooked the town of Dürnstein as well. Now you're going to see a number of incredible castles on any of your river cruises over in Europe, but what we've actually done is we actually have some exclusive stops provided for our AmaWaterways passengers. So on the Danube, we're actually going to be stopping at the Grind Castle after dinner. And the castle is closed to the public. It's only our guests that are in the Grind Castle to take you on a very personalized experience tour through the Grind Castle. And of course Salzburg, always great highlight. It's home to Mozart, home to the Sound of Music. And then there's Bielefeld. Now you might not be familiar with this town, but this is our home port when you fly in to a cruise that's going to start in Munich. You do in the Bavarian part of Germany. So we actually bring you your own Oktoberfest experience right at the end of the ship. The locals come out, you've got the music playing, you've got the beer, the pretzels, so a very fun time, either if you're kicking off your cruise or just finishing your Danube cruise. And of course, you've got those Christmas markets cruises, which I spoke about. Now please remember, every city and town that you go to, it's a different Christmas market. It is not the same all the way through. This is really something authentically European and again, really, really popular river cruise experience. Now I'm going to move over to the Rhine River. This is another very popular river cruise which will take you from Amsterdam down to the Swiss port city of Basel. 7 up to 12 night experiences. And yes, just like on the Danube, just as many tours that are included to allow you to customize your touring experience. So guided cycling tours, guided hiking tours, special interest tours almost every other day. Now the Rhine River couples with two smaller rivers, the Mosel River and the Main River. And the Mosel River is often considered the most beautiful river in all of Europe. So some of the longer cruises will actually incorporate those rivers as well. So a traditional Rhine River cruise would take you from Amsterdam down to the Swiss port city of Basel. 7-night river cruise experiences. Now Basel is the only city in Switzerland that touches the river. So yes, the post package is very exciting. You can actually go off and see more of Switzerland, 2 nights in Lucerne, 2 nights over into Zurich. Some of the other ones, these are slightly longer cruises which will take you on the Main and the Mosel rivers. So cruises up to 12 nights in length because you do need that extra time to get off to some of those other areas on the rivers. And then you've got some unique river cruise experiences over on the Rhine, including our famous Tulip Time experiences, which happen in March and April. We've got our year-round Holland and Belgium cruise, and of course we've got some cruises which will actually take you on the Main, Rhine, and Mosel rivers, so from Nuremberg over to Luxembourg. So some very unique programs, and again, sit with your travel advisor, figure out where exactly it is you want to go, because I can guarantee you they'll find a river cruise that perfectly suits for you. Now, some of the highlights, of course, that you'll see include the city of Amsterdam. We always overnight in Amsterdam, so you get a full day to experience everything the city has to offer by day and by night. And happening this year is actually Floriade, and this is the world's largest horticultural expo. It only happens every 10 years, and it happens to be going on in Amsterdam this year. So if you actually are taking a Rhine River cruise, one of your tours would be the opportunity to go off and see the Floriade Expo. Of course, you've got some other beautiful cities up in the northern part of the Rhine, including Bruges in Belgium, often referred to as the Venice of the North because, again, totally canal city, great way, of course, to wander all around. And then the capital city of Luxembourg is also quite beautiful as well. And of course, on a Rhine River cruise, one of the highlights is to go through the Rhine Gorge, where you'll see 21 medieval castles that are centuries old. Now, we do this during the day, of course, and before you come up to me after this presentation and say, well, which side of the ship should I be on to see all of the castles? 11 of them are on the starboard side, 10 of them are on the port side. So folks, it really does not matter. If you're traveling with friends, my recommendation, get a balcony suite across from one another. That way, if a castle's coming up on the other side, you just pop over to their balcony to see it. Now again, just like over on the Danube, we have an exclusive tour off to one of these beautiful castles, and it's the Lanik Castle. We'll be stopping here after dinner. The owner of the castle comes down and takes our guests through the castle, and folks, it's only powered by candlelight, so it's a really, really incredibly beautiful experience to see. Of course, the Mosel River, if you take one of the longer cruises, as you can see, really unique river and turns and bends with the wineries in the middle, of course. And some of the smaller towns that you'll see include the town of Rudesheim. And folks, if you are apricot lovers, then you're going to love Rudesheim because everything that you can possibly imagine to be made with apricots, you will find here. Apricot wine, apricot liqueur, apricot brandy, apricot barbecue sauce, you name it, they have it. So it's a great little town to stop in. Heidelberg is also very popular, and like I said, you've got Christmas markets all over Europe, including over on the Rhine. So we have people who come back year after year to do various Christmas markets cruises on different rivers around the world. Now, yes, as we know, the travel industry has been very, very hurt by the COVID situation for the last couple of years, but our owner had another unique design for our company. Now, when we build a river cruise ship, folks, it costs between $50 and $75 million a ship to build. When Rudy builds his ships, he pays for them in cash up front. He doesn't carry any sort of debt. He doesn't use any sort of creditors in order to finance the building of our ships. And having 25 ships gave us over $1 billion in assets, so made for a very sustainable company. So yes, we had new ships still coming out during the COVID period, new itineraries and such, including our year-round Holland and Belgium itinerary, and also partnering with Ancestry. It's a genealogist company, and they are highlighting some great genealogy cruises on the Rhine River this year as well. But folks, I've talked to you all about these lovely areas. I know my speaker always goes off. I've talked to you all about these lovely areas, but I'm going to take you on a quick little 90-second Rhine River cruise in this next little video for you to enjoy. So.
We couldn't wait to set sail on a river cruise with AmaWaterways. The Rhine River is so beautiful, and we get to discover all the history and wonder of 4 different countries. There's so much to see and do, and just these moments that we have, we know we cherish forever. Everything about it, the luxury, the service, the wonderful dining, and of course, the amazing sights. It was definitely the trip of a lifetime. Here's to the memories we made, the ones that will always stay with us.
So that's just a quick little cruise down the Rhine River to see all of the great sights along there. Now I'm going to move over to the rivers of France and Portugal because we highlight them a bit differerently because they're not interconnected like all of the rivers are in Europe that we just spoke about. So you've got standalone rivers such as the Seine in the northwestern part of France, you've got the Rhone and Saône through the heart of France, and you've got the rivers of the Bordeaux in the southwestern region of France. And then of course you've got the Douro River in the northern part of Portugal. These are all 7-night river cruise experiences, but they've all been designed to start and end on the same day. So that if you actually want to do 14 nights or 21 nights in France, or maybe France and Portugal, you can very easily connect from one cruise to the other. And just like with our other river cruises, of course, you've got all of those different kinds of tours that are all included for you to enjoy: the guided cycling, the guided hiking tours, all the special interest tours as well. So over in France, of course, we've got a few different cruises, and all of our packages, of course, will include extensions. If you'd like to go off to see Paris before or after one of your river cruises, you can certainly do that. We've got some unique extensions off to the Brittany region, over into St. Malo, and as well as the Basque Country in Spain. So like I said, all of those are 7-night programs. And then the Douro, of course, 2 ships on the Douro, 7-night river cruises again in and out of Porto. Now folks, our ships in Portugal and France are a bit smaller. They only have between 100 and 140 passengers. And the reason for that is because some of the ports of calls in these countries cannot take a full-size river cruise ship into the heart of their cities and towns. And for us, we feel it's very important for you to be able to walk off into the center of every city and town that you go to. So we've kept with a slightly smaller, more intimate ship on these rivers, but again, they have all the same great core features that you enjoyed in the video earlier on today. So some of the highlights, of course, in France include Avignon. It's the cultural capital and culinary capital of France. You've got some incredible wineries that you'll see, including the Saint-Emilion wineries down in the Bordeaux region. And of course, up on the Seine River, very historical part of France. And yes, we include a tour off into Normandy, but very unique for us at AmaWaterways. We actually will separate our guests when we're into Normandy. So the Canadians and the Brits will then go off to see Juno Beach, while the Americans will go off and see the Normandy area. So we felt that was very important for all of our guests. Of course, the Seine is not just home to a number of historical events, but a number of artists who also made their home along the way, including Monet over in Giverny that you're seeing here. Of course, that looks very close to where he painted the famous water lilies portrait. Now folks, I will guarantee there's a lovely spot just on the other side of the pond. You can stand there, take your own picture of water lilies so you have your unique work of art, but please be good at Photoshop because there'll be at least 30 guests in every time you take a picture. So. You of course got the beautiful city of Bordeaux. We do a nighttime cruise through this city because it is lit up like a Christmas tree. And yes, some new itineraries and experiences that started in France in 2021 included our winter cruises on the Rhone. Now these are not Christmas markets, because France does things a bit differently. They've got these stunning light and festival shows such as the one you're seeing here in Lyon. So again, incredible Christmas spirit to see down on the Rhone and Saône rivers in France. Of course, over in Portugal, you will start your Douro River cruise in Lisbon, the capital, and then we'll take you up to Porto for a 7-night experience between Porto and Vega de Tyrone. Now, the one cruise will go one way to allow you to go over to Madrid, Spain, or you can do a round trip on Porto to Porto. But one of the highlights I've found on the Douro River cruise happens in the city of Regal. Now, how many of you back in the day may have enjoyed a glass or two of Mateus rosé wine? And how many of you, after you finished the bottle, decided, I'm going to put a candle on the top of this bottle and decorate my house? Well, folks, this is a good highlight for you then, because you actually go to the Royal Mateus Palace when you are in the city of Regal. You get a chance to sample the beautiful Mateus wines, which are still made to this very day. And of course, like I said, the Douro River cruises do touch over into the medieval side of Spain, over into Salamanca as well. And we're very excited about the Douro because for this first time ever, the Douro River cruise season has been extended till the end of the year. Normally the Douro River cruise would end at the end of October, and we always had our guests saying, why don't you operate cruises in November and December, because I'm going over for a 4-week or an 8-week long stay in the Algarve, and I'd love to do a Douro River cruise either before or after my long stay there. So we listened to our guests, and we've actually extended our season for the first time, so we'll be cruising on the Douro this year right until the end of December. Now, of course, we've got combination cruises, folks. I've kind of alluded to this, but just because you don't see the river cruise in our brochure doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Maybe your plan was to go for 6 weeks over to Europe and you like to do 4 weeks on various rivers. You can always combine any of our river cruises. Please go to your travel advisor. They can actually guide you through, figure out all the different ones, because they will all come to me. I have an app that our operations department devised saying, here's one cruise, what else can you do with this? And they will give you all the different combinations that you can do. But folks, the ultimate river cruise combination, we actually brought out and introduced for sailing starting in 2023, and it's called 7 River Journey. Now again, this is in response to our guests saying, why don't you have a world cruise on the rivers? Because I've taken these beautiful world cruises on these stunning boutique ocean ships. 60, 90, 180 days. So we thought, it's never been done before on the river, so why not bring that out and see what the response would be? So the title, it gives away exactly what it's doing. It's on 7 different rivers, 14 countries, 45 nights. Now folks, we honestly had no idea what the response might be to such a river cruise experience. After 4 days of us releasing this, it was 96% sold out. So what does any good company do? We brought out 2 more departures. We have a spring sailing now, a summer, and a fall sailing. They are all slightly different. The spring one will spend more time in Holland and Belgium when the tulip time season is on. The summer will spend more time in France, and the fall will actually spend more time on the Magna. So some very unique experiences as well. And one other one I want to talk about over in Europe are our celebration of wine river cruises. And it was the brainchild of this lovely lady named Liz Barrett. And she went to her owners and said, I don't understand why river cruises don't have more tours which involve the history of wine. Wine has been around Europe for centuries, and her idea was to bring a North American wine host over onto a couple of our cruises. Have them bring their wines from North America so that you can compare and taste it to the old world wines of Europe where you are cruising through. Now we started with 2 of these in 2009. Folks, we are operating 64 different wine river cruises now. It's becoming a very popular program, and you get all the same great inclusions, a few extra included excursions off to some chateaus and wineries along the way. And folks, you do not have to be a true wine enthusiast in order to enjoy these wine river cruises. I can tell you right now, when I took mine, all I know about wine is 1 glass is red, 1 glass is white, I drink beer. But I still had a spectacular time on board, really learning how wine relates to the history of Europe. And I'm going to let Liz tell you just a bit more about our wine river cruise program.
Hi, my name is Liz Barrett, and I'm a certified specialist of wine, and I am the wine expert for AmaWaterways and all of our wine cruises in Europe. One of the wonderful things about joining us on our Celebration of Wine cruise is we bring a North American wine host on board who can help you navigate through the sometimes complicated world of understanding the old world wines, the old world culture and traditions versus the new world wines and traditions that your palate is based on. This wine host speaks your language. They understand your palate better than anyone else, even you, because your palate has probably grown up on big, fruit-forward wines as opposed to the old world wines that are more steeped in tradition. We've created some wonderful wine excursions that you get to enjoy almost every single day. You'll have expert guides that take you into these family-owned wineries, some rich cellars that are steeped in tradition. We've added a gorgeous wine-paired dinner during the cruise, where you will get to enjoy our exquisite cuisine that is award-winning, paired with some of the wonderful wines that the host has actually brought on board. They'll be explaining it to you, guiding you through it. Since we have a wine host on board from North America, you get a comprehensive education and experience into the entire global world of wine. We look so forward to having you join us on one of our Celebration of Wine cruises this fall.
So folks, that just gives you a nice overview of all the different European river cruise products that we have, but I'm going to move over into our exotic river cruise collection now. And I'm going to start with a one that's very near and dear to our company's heart, because we were the very first North American river cruise line to ever have our own ship down on the Mekong River in Southeast Asia. Now, all of our exotic rivers are very much an experiential river cruise treatment. You really get to see and experience all the different cultures, the foods, all the different ways of life down there. So on the Mekong cruise, of course, this will take you between southern Vietnam and Cambodia on a 7-night river cruise. You do a couple of nights ahead of time in Ho Chi Minh City. You do a few nights at the end of the cruise in Siem Reap. But folks, if you're going to go all the way, please take the full 15-day package and go up to northern Vietnam, into Hanoi and Halong Bay. It's a very different cultural experience to southern Vietnam because it was 25 years behind southern Vietnam in becoming a democracy. So again, like I said, you see all the different things that you get to experience here, including all the unique forms of transportation. That's our owner taking a try shot on one of his little day tours and such. Now the ships down here, have all the same core features, again, that you saw. They've got the twin balcony suites, they've got the multiple restaurants on board. They just look a bit different because we don't have the same locks or low bridges to go through. So this is the Amadara down on the Mekong River. Has 120 guests on board. The nice thing about her is that all of the cabins are the twin balcony suites. So again, nice little feature for there with the multiple restaurants on board. Now the next program I'm going to tell you about is our wildlife river cruise experience on the Chobe River. Again, something unique to AmaWaterways. And we know that when guests go to Africa, the main reason, of course, is to go and see the wildlife. Now, if you were to take a beautiful land safari tour, there's never a guarantee that you're going to see all of the wildlife when you're there. But folks, if you take a wildlife river cruise with us, we can actually guarantee that you'll see all of the wildlife that is on the Chobe River, because the Chobe River is the only watering hole between Namibia and Botswana, meaning all of these animals have to come to the river every single day to bathe, to feed, and that's where you'll be sitting on the beautiful Zambezi Queen. Now it's a much smaller ship experience. As you can see here, there's only 14 balcony suites, so 28 guests. But again, great program, 7 nights on the Chobe and Victoria Falls, and you have an opportunity to extend and either go down to South Africa, into Johannesburg, Cape Town, maybe do the Robles Rail experience, or stay in Kruger National Park. If you've already done South Africa, you can still do the Wildlife River Cruise experience and go over to East Africa, into Tanzania and Kenya. And something new for us a couple of years ago is we added the Rwanda Gorillas package onto our programs to truly make it that great bucket list item for you to go down to Africa. And finally, our newest exotic river cruise destination was the Nile River in Egypt. And we brought out the Amadalia last year in September on this stunning part of the world as well. Now, it's a 7-night river cruise experience in and out of Luxor, 3 nights in Cairo ahead of time with a post night in Cairo at the end of the cruise. And again, it's all about experiencing what these countries have to offer. From the food, the cultures, the religions, all of the incredible sites, like some of the pyramids, of course, and the temples. And on our Egypt program, you can do a pre-package over into Jordan or Dubai, or a post-package over into Israel. And it will happen on board the beautiful Amadalia. Now, there's only 72 passengers on this ship, but again, all the same great core features, but this ship has gone over so well that our owner announced just a couple of weeks ago that we're adding a second ship onto the Nile for the end of 2023. So we're very excited about that. Now, normally that's where I would stop my exotics talk, but last year our owner announced that we're going to be the very first river cruise line to have our own ship on the Magdalena River in Colombia. Now again, this will very much be a wildlife river cruise experience because there's some incredibly unique wildlife in South America that you could only see in this part of the continent. So it'll be a 7-night river cruise in and out of Bogota with extensions off to the Galapagos and to the Amazon. Now we're waiting on more information. We don't know the name of the ship, the size of the ship. We expect it will be around 50 passengers, but there'll be more information coming probably at the end of the summer. So if you are interested, please let your travel advisor know so that they can get that information out to you as soon as it is available. So that is a great overview of all the different river cruise products that we have, not only in Europe, but also around the world. Of course, inside the bags that you would have all received tonight was a copy of our new catalog. Now, folks, this is exactly it. It's an information catalog. It has all of our different itineraries, but all of the dates could be for 22, 23, 24. It really just guides you through all the different experiences because they don't really change much from year to year. So you go back to your travel advisor, you find out the dates that will work best for you and the best prices, because the travel advisors are the ones we work exclusively with, so they always have the best prices and promotions available for you. But I want to bring you an incredible promotion for coming out tonight. Now, 2022 has been a bit of a transition year. Yes, we know that guests are really getting excited about traveling again, especially now that the restrictions have been dropped a few weeks ago by Canada, making travel between Canada and Europe very easy. Our phones have really started ringing off the walls about 3 or 4 weeks ago from the Canadian advisors with their guests saying, I've waited long enough, I'd like to get on a river cruise. So folks, I'd like you all to get on a river cruise, so I'm bringing you an incredible offer, and that flyer is also in your bag as well. So basically this promotion, folks, is on any river cruise sailing in Europe or the Mekong that still has a promotional offer on it. So again, just talk to your advisor, they will know which dates those are. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to book you in to the fixed window stateroom, so the lead-in cabin category, and generally that's a general starting point of about $5,300 per person. But what we're going to do is upgrade you to the top twin balcony suite, which is generally about $2,700 per person. So we're going to give you that for free. So obviously, the earlier you book, the better cabin you're going to receive. I started these shows on Monday in Niagara-on-the-Lake, so again, a lot of people have already started going to their advisors saying, yes, I'll take this date, and they get booked up to that best cabin. But folks, the offer doesn't end there. In addition to the best cabin available, we're also going to give you free round-trip airfare. So it's an incredible promotion for you to take advantage of. This is on while we have space until the end of July. Now, there's about 200 dates last time I checked that were still on sale and eligible for this program. And yes, there are dates even on the Ama Magna. There's about 20 dates that the Ama Magna has. Slightly higher base price, but again, the same great savings and same great round-trip airfare as well. Now that's the offer for 2022. Of course, we have people planning for 23, and there are great early booking offers out. Savings of up to about $1,800 off per couple. But in addition to that, we also wanted to, on the 2023 river cruises, give you free prepaid gratuities, which is about a $450 value as well. So if you want to book for 22 with your advisor and 23, I'm sure they're happy to help you out for both. So, and folks, we realize that right now travel is a personal choice, and we want you to be comfortable with your choice to choose travel. So our Travel Waiver Plus policy actually allows you to change your mind for absolutely any reason up until 30 days prior to the sailing in 2022, and not be hit with any sort of change or cancellation penalty. So you're able to take advantage of these great offers and really book with full peace of mind. Now folks, I asked the question at the beginning, so I know there's a number of you who are past AmaWaterways guests. That means if you book another cruise with us, you are going to get an additional discount off of your next cruise. But I also noticed there was a number of you who raised your hand who might not have river cruise with us, but you have river cruise as well. And folks, I'd love you to come over and try AmaWaterways. So we know that you would get a past passenger savings on that other river cruise line, so I'm going to match that if you come over and book a cruise with us as well. So you'll still get your past passenger savings over onto the AmaWaterways program. So lots of great offers. Again, just let your travel advisor know what you are after. And of course, we are looking forward to seeing all of you on board. Now folks, we do work exclusively with our travel advisor partners. In fact, 98% of all our business in AmaWaterways comes from our advisors. We put out the best promotions, the best offers through them. Now I know some of you might be have been invited here as a past AmaWaterways guest. Perhaps your travel agent is no longer working because of COVID or other situations. So folks, if you do need the recommendation of a travel advisor in the area, please come and see me afterwards, and I will find the one that's closely, the most closely situated to you as well. So, because we don't want you to miss out on any offers, of course, because if you were to book with us, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get the best offers. So I've left a few minutes at the end, hopefully. Yes, I have, for questions and answers. But folks, I know from doing these presentations, I tend to get asked the same questions over and over. So I thought I'm going to answer those ahead of time. And then if you've got any others for me, I'm happy to answer those for you as well. So probably one of the most popular questions revolves around weather. People will always seem to come up to me after a presentation and say, Neil, could you please tell me when the rainy season is over in Europe? Because I really don't think I want to book my river cruise when the rainy season is on. Folks, if I knew when the rainy season was on in Europe, I wouldn't let you book a river cruise at that time either. Unfortunately, they do not have one. You could get rain in March, you could get rain in August, you could get rain in November. But as you've learned tonight with those beautiful twin balcony suites, no matter when you choose to sail, you're going to have a spectacular river cruise experience. Now, as far as our seasonality, of course, we cruise from March right up through till the end of December. So I know a lot of times people come to me saying, I don't think I want a river cruise in March or April or October, November. It's too cold. It might be too cold in Canada, but folks, it is not too cold in Europe. And the best way to compare this is talk about the beautiful tulip time season. So how many of you have tulips in your gardens? And when do those tulips come out this year? End of April, beginning of May? Folks, if you travel over to Holland and Belgium for the tulip time season at that time, you're going to find out that all the tulips are done and dead by that time because they get warm a full month to a month and a half early. So those March and April, those October, November departures are an incredible one to take advantage of because you can also get low to shoulder season airfares to go along with those as well. Health and safety, of course, as I mentioned earlier, we did cruise through the COVID period under enhanced health and safety protocols. We always want to make sure that the health and safety of our guests is our top priority. So of course, if there was ever any threat to our safety or passenger safety, we would never cruise. Obviously, there was a time frame during the COVID period where we were not cruising. We'd suspended our sailings. So that will always be first and foremost in our mind. There is 24-hour security on the ship, and all of the ships are key access only as well. So again, very safe environments when you're actually on board. Now, we've been talking about all of these great promotions. based on 2 people traveling. But we know that there's solo travelers out there. We also know that there's groups wanting to travel. And yes, we can accommodate all of these on our ships as well. Now, as far as the solo travelers go, we've mentioned that incredible promotion tonight. Now, normally with river cruise ships, what you're going to find is the solo supplement ranges between 50 and 100%. But on this promotion, it's only going to be 25%. So you would actually get a chance to go up to the best cabin available and get the free round-trip airfare. But I will also mention one other great way for solo travelers to travel with AmaWaterways, and that is on any of our 4 ships over in France. We actually have 2 dedicated French balcony suites, and they have no single supplement year-round. So again, great opportunities for the solo travelers. And I'd like to talk about groups. There's all sorts of different possibilities to do with groups. Another one I do like to mention, we could do fundraising. So if there's anybody out there who are members of Rotary or a hospital foundation or anything like that where you do fundraisers, you can actually do amazing fundraisers because a lot of those people love to travel. So imagine getting 4 other couples and then going off to your organization saying, we've just raised $5,000 for our charity or our organization. So if there's anybody out there like that, again, have a great chat with your travel advisor. They can certainly set that up for you on board as well. And the other one, of course, would have to be the dress code. Folks, it's a smart casual environment on every single one of our cruises. There are no formal nights whatsoever. So that means generally you don't have to wear the jackets and ties, and ladies, you don't need to bring the fancy cocktail dresses if you don't wish to do so either. So, now gentlemen, actually, if you have fancy cocktail dresses you wish to bring and wear, please do so, because we always like extra entertainment on our ships. So folks, those are some of the main questions I do tend to get asked, but I've left a few minutes here at the end. If you've got any other questions for me, I'm happy to answer them now. Of course, I'll be around after. Your travel advisors, if they're not here, are also around to help you as well. But does anyone have any extra questions for me? Yeah?
Does the app work with your own camera, not the cell phone camera?
So the app right now is designed only to be done on cameras or tablets. So the app doesn't have the functionality for the digital cameras yet, but new things are always happening with that app each and every year. So it might be down the track for us. So, yeah. Yes?
That was really good, Neil. That's a great job, I would say first.
Thanks.
I have a question about the bikes.
Mm.
You've got about 25 to 28 bikes, and let's say there's a river cruise, let's say just about 120 guests.
Yep.
Those who are going to take the bikes, is there a limited hours so that the others can get a chance as well? Or no?
So with regards to bikes, yes, there is a limited number on board, but we also know that if guests express an interest in going on, say, the guided cycling tours in a couple of days' time, and all of a sudden we get more than 20 or 25 guests, obviously we have our base of operations in Switzerland. We can actually have extra bikes waiting on the shore for those extra guests. So we don't ever usually have a situation where we ever run out of bikes. And of course, all the equipment comes with that, the helmets and the locks and stuff like that. So never usually a problem, and these are top grade city touring bikes. So.
Okay, great. Thank
No
you.
worries. All right, folks, well, I don't see any other hands up, so I want to say thank you very much for coming out tonight. I hope to see all of you on board very soon, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Thanks, everyone. And to my travel advisor friends, if any of you, I know you asked earlier if you want extra brochures, Carlos, there's bags up there so you can help yourself to any of the extra bags there as well. So, thanks everyone.